Te di las reglas en el camerino, protéjase y siempre obedece sus órdenes. I gave you the instructions in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch him up, toca la guante.
Referee Ricky Gonzalez, as we are set for this super welterweight showdown. Lara coming off his career best win in June, a 10th round TKO against Alfredo Angulo, a spirited scrap in which he came back after being dropped twice. His first fight in which he was knocked down, while no doubt Trout coming off a competitive setback, the first loss of his career in front of nearly 40,000 at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio against Canelo Alvarez. When he went back and watched the fight, he said he should have at least gotten a draw. The bell, and we are underway. By the way, Trout, like most of us, not a fan of the open scoring.
No, well, that fight, that had big impact on that fight, as you were alluding to. Now, Lara coming forward. Trout told us, both men, let's face it, both these men like to counterpunch and box. Trout said he was going to come forward in this fight, that he was forced to do it against Canelo because of the open scoring. He found himself well behind, and he knew it. And this time they prepared to come forward against Lara. Let's see how that works.
Lara in the black with red, Trout in the white and silver. Trout's mother, MJ, grew up in Brooklyn, while Trout lives in Las Cruces, New Mexico, has a lot of family in the Big Apple, and they are out in full force supporting him tonight as Lara connects with the jab.
You know, both fighters are very similar. You can see them in this round, you know, trying to see where the openings are, using that jab and breaking down each other.
Trout go ahead, Al.
I'm sorry. Trout is convinced the body is where he needs to go against Lara if he can get there. They think Angulo, who of course is a big body puncher, showed that.
Trout has had success fighting southpaws in the past against David Lopez, and in the fight in which he won the championship, Canelo's older brother, Rigoberto Alvarez. Of course, Lara coming from the Cuban system. What, 8 out of 10 fighters down there are southpaws?
I think everybody is a lefty down there. And he's fought 2 as a professional. He had that fight in which many people believe he was ripped off against Williams. And but he fought, Trout himself fought many lefties as an amateur as well.
You have to remember, both of the fighters are coming off tough fights in the last fight. I mean, Lara had a tough fight against Angulo, a stablemate of mine.
A very tough fight.
A very tough fight. Down twice for the first time.
Well, Trout has had a tough calendar year last December, going into Madison Square Garden, Miguel Cotto's house, handing Cotto his first loss at MSG, then following up with the fight against Canelo Alvarez in hostile territory in San Antonio, and now facing the equally difficult Erislandy Lara.
Hey, that's quite a trio to face right in a row. That's a juggernaut.
So a feeling out process, and again with 2 master technicians, you can expect the chess match to unfold despite what they said. And again, a little bit of trash talking leading up to this fight, and some of the fans may be already spoiled after what we saw with Bika and Durrell starting to boo. But if you like the sweet science and you're a boxing purist, you should love this fight. So the first 3 minutes is in the books. Both of them trying to figure out the other.
We see Austin Trout, and we'll talk about his keys to victory. He's got to establish the jab, didn't do that in the first round. Wants to go to the body, didn't have the opportunity. I say if he attacks, be prudent. He actually didn't have to attack because both men kind of stayed at distance, but if he does, he cannot wade in and not be mindful of Lara's power. As for Erislandy Lara, the jab is also the key to him, and he did a little better job in the first round, and I think he wants to make Trout come forward if he can, and then counterpunch him, and that right hook will be a very effective weapon if he can get it in. He's got big power with that punch.
Very good, very good. All right.
Lara's trainer, Ronnie Shields, telling him that every time he has a chance to go to the body, and we talked about Trout's recent resume. For Erislandy Lara, his 6 most recent opponents have either held or challenged for a championship as we begin round 2.
You know, I think Trout has to put a little bit more pressure on, because I think this suits Lara. This pace suits Lara. I mean, coming back from the amateur days for Cuban, you know, he's a typical Cuban, very skillful fighter. So this pace will definitely suit him. So I think Trout has to put the pressure on, push him back a little bit.
Yeah, but the problem for Austin Trout is that isn't his style. He said he's more equipped to do that. Nice right hook by Trout in this fight. Was not comfortable doing it against Canelo, but they did prepare for it here. Let's see if he can do it.
Lara, a notoriously quick starter. 9 of his 12 knockouts come in the opening round, but against a guy like Trout, as he lands that left hand, someone on a much higher level.
And Lara is convinced. He said, I think I'm the puncher in here, and if I hit him right, I will put him to sleep. Trout, of course, disagrees with that viewpoint. Austin Trout, not a huge puncher. 9 of his last 10 fights have gone the distance, so he is not normally a big puncher.
Minute and a half gone in the second round. Each of them still trying to figure the other out. Trout feinting, jabbing to the body.
Well, this was, from some people's standpoint, the concern about this fight, that we have 2 terrific fighters here, but neither man loves to lead. And right now, neither one is leading.
Like a game of chess, you know, you can hear the fans booing. You know, I think they want to see a little bit more action.
And I think also they're seeing which one will be affected when a big punch is thrown.
Final minute of the second round. There's a right hand from Lara. Trout looking for the body.
Trout has had no opportunity to go there, really, Mauro, and he wanted to try and test Lara there.
Yeah, neither really. I mean, using their shoulders to defend, not giving either much real estate to attack Amir.
No, they're not. You know, I think Trout has to be the one pushing Lara back. I mean, you saw what Angulo did, putting him down twice, so he can get hurt.
Yeah, but Alfredo Angulo is specifically designed to do that. He's a huge body puncher, and he's got all those. He fights that way, and Trout doesn't, and it's going to be tricky for him.
Trout's getting a lot of success when he is moving forward.
No, he can do it.
But he's giving Lara a lot of success.
We are through 2 rounds here at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Let's go to Jim Gray, standing by with Anthony Durrell, who just drew with Sakio Bika.
All right, Anthony, as we catch up with you here in your locker room and you've had a few moments to reflect, your thoughts on the split decision draw?
I just I'd like to apologize to, you know, the fans and stuff for walking out like that, but I was just disappointed in the judge's decision. I thought I won a fight. He was a dirty fighter. Everybody knows a Sakio Bika fight is dirty. And I'll just go to the gym from now and bounce back. I got no loss, so I just go to the gym and bounce back.
Why do you feel you won the fight?
Because I think I landed more cleaner shots, flush shots. He was in there wild, as everybody can see, missing a lot, knocked him down. He was dirty. He hit low, head-butted, and it was nothing done. But like I say, I just go to the gym and reflect on that.
Do you feel as though you did enough in the final rounds?
I did. I mean, you can't judge the 12th round when I raised my hands and ran around the ring. You can't judge. That's not a round. I think I won the whole round, but the last 10 seconds. So you can't judge that.
Anthony, appreciate it. You'd like a rematch real quickly?
Definitely.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Mo, back out to you.
All right, Jim, thank you. Mauro Ranallo, Al Bernstein, Amir Khan, Jim Gray, Brian Kenny, and the rest of the crew here in Brooklyn as we begin round 3 of this super welterweight showdown. And now Trout beginning to walk down Lara, who circles away from the ropes using lateral movement. Just single shooting.
Lara is trying to look for the counter punches, and there's the left hand when Trout kind of leans in. But Trout himself understands that, guys. That's his game, so he's going to be very careful of the way he attacks.
You know, Lara's boxing a very smart game, though. You know, making him fall short just by inches and then catching him with a shot and then moving away.
While Trout may be the busier, and that's being relative. Lara doing a good job defensively to block the majority of those shots.
Yeah, and they've actually both thrown almost exactly the same amount of punches in this fight, both in the mid-60s. So they're not setting any land speed records for number of punches thrown.
There's a right hook by Trout. Just past the midpoint of the third round. Lara with a slight edge in the total punches.
A lot of chippiness leading into this fight. You saw some of it as you hosted the weigh-in, but not making itself evident in this fight, where it's been a, like as Amir said, a chess match.
I mean, you've got two good boxers in there, and like I said, they're very, very similar to, you know, they've got both got a very similar style.
What's the key in trying to cut off the ring? It appears Austin Trout wanting to do that against Lara, but not being able to do so yet, Amir.
I think the key is, you know, a lot of feints and maybe throwing a little bit more punches. You know, having a little bit of a higher work rate than Lara. I think he'll get more success that way.
You know, both men are brilliant defensive fighters, so that's why nothing's landing. It's part of the reason. We saw Lara miss with a left hand.
And at its purest, that's what boxing is, hit and not be hit.
And remember, lefties, well, we've talked about, they've faced a lot of lefties, especially in the amateurs. They've only faced 2 each as a pro. You just don't see another lefty normally in front of you. It's a different thing. All that contributing to the fact that neither man's able to get his offense on track.
Combination landing by Lara, who comes forward again. Trout trying to punch out of the clinch as we go to round 4.
The jab is beautiful. Yeah. Keep the counter punching going. I want the counter punching going. Don't stop counter punching. It's good. But every night, keep sitting on that body. Okay? Keep shooting left hand down there.
Lara's trainer, Ronnie Shields, wants him to work the body a little more. Louis Burke in Austin Trout's corner.
Wait.
As the action continues to percolate, for lack of a better term there, Al.
And Louis Burke, who was involved in many slugfests, including one against the great trainer Freddie Roach. Louis has always molded Austin Trout to not be in slugfest. So that's the nature of what Trout does, as it is of what Lara does.
Lara lands a nice straight left hand to the side of Trout's head. The first 30 seconds of the 4th round. There's another left hand by Lara.
No punch. The sharp, clean punches that we have seen, more of them have come from Lara, but the difference is slight. There's a Trout jab, and that's a punch he really wants to get in here. Both men, you know, are good with the jab normally, but again, they're facing defensive masters.
Trout throwing the jab out there, but Lara doing a good job of avoiding it, Amir.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Lara is very smart. He's boxing a smart game. Like I said, it's a game of chess. This is one misses, the other comes back with a counter shot, and they've both been very, very patient.
In terms of landing, Lara's had a great round thus far, heading into the second half of the 4th round. Well, Trout really unable to get much off, feinting with the jab.
You know, Lara was a good amateur boxer, and you know from the Cuban boxers, you know, to beat a Cuban fighter, you have to put pressure on, just like Trout is doing there, throwing combinations and pushing them back. That's the only way you're going to catch him.
A high-stakes matchup, 2 of the top 154-pounders. There is talk out there, and I know Trout would love a rematch against Canelo, who was scheduled to fight 3 times in 2014, while Erislandy Lara simply wants to find the best. Lara has a draw against one of the champions at 154, Carlos Molina.
Yeah, and that is a fight that many think Molina won. So against Paul Williams, many people believe Lara didn't get the decision he should and got a draw. Against Molina, many people believe Molina deserved to win. So he's been involved in some very close calls.
Lara picking off Trout. There's the 1-2 combination, and then avoiding the counterattack. Good footwork by Lara. Trout trying to maintain control in the center of the ring. And you know, it's funny, Lara said that it was Trout who was the runner. Not seemingly the case. Trout's trying to find Lara.
As Trout comes forward, Lara stops him with the 1-2 combination, and then there's Lara moving away. So the specific 1-2s have been good.
Well, coming up, we have the welterweight championship as Devin Alexander defending the title against undefeated Sean Porter. Alexander, of course, wanting to face the best of the best at 147 since winning the title here in Brooklyn in October against Randall Bailey. Has found it tough in finding the opponents he wants. He was supposed to face Kell Brook in his last fight. Took care of short notice replacement Lee Purdy. And now tonight faces the undefeated Sean Porter. Fifth round begins. Trout feigning with the right hand.
Austin Trout took weight training out of his regimen for this fight. Wanted to be fast and explosive, and he felt that would help him. So far, he's had difficulty hitting Erislandy Lara. It's very close, of course, but still, Lara seems like he's done the better work. And I just believe Austin Trout has ceded the strategy to Lara by not making Lara come to him.
Through 4 rounds, here's how the Showtime crew has their scorecards.
Unanimity, except Amir, you have a bigger margin for Lara. You have him winning every round.
Yeah, I have Lara winning every round. I think he's been the cleaner fighter. He's been beating Trout to every punch. And defensively, he's a better fighter, yeah.
Of course, those are the unofficial scores, courtesy of our Showtime crew, as Trout delivers the left, but it bounces off the shoulder of Lara.
The other thing Austin Trout's doing is, and they did it by design, they talked about it, he's fighting low. I think that gives Lara the opportunity to counterpunch him. Austin Trout's a stand-up boxer. That's who he is.
Trout's a bigger guy. He should be definitely, like you said, you should be letting him, you should be fighting long, standing up straight. He's giving him a chance by, leaning down and putting his head low.
Well, that's what I agree with you. And it's hard because Lara, but I just think Lara won the chess battle at the beginning in some ways because Trout decided to come to him, and that's what he's doing.
Lara continues to utilize his footwork, befuddling and maybe frustrating Austin Trout as you saw Trout momentarily drop his gloves as if to say, are we going to fight or what? And now Trout coming forward, but again, Lara very good defensively, Amir.
Defensively, Lara's a great fighter, We've seen him in the previous fights. He's had great defense. I think this is the time where Trout has to push him back now and start throwing more punches. He's having a little success by doing that, but he just needs to do a little bit more.
And what about his defense that makes him so good? I mean, we see it time and time again, but as a guy who's been a champion, Amir, and been in there with the best, what is it about Lara's defense that
Lara has
so
great
effective?
footwork. Yeah, Lara has great footwork. He gets out of trouble, he hits moves, and it's his footwork that gets him out of trouble, really. That's the defensive side of his, defense in a way. So I think with Trout has to cut the ring a little bit and, push him back and throw a lot more shots.
Trout landed a nice counter right to the body before Lara got out of harm's way. Left uppercut lands by Lara. As we head to round 6. Still to come, the welterweight championship. Sean Porter, undefeated, looking at his opportunity to become a champion for the first time in his career as he takes on Devin Alexander straight ahead. "22 wins, 14 victories inside the distance, wanting to bring that welterweight championship back home to Cleveland, although he is now based in Las Vegas working with Mayweather.
One combination, hand and body, hand and body. And let's go for it. Let's a little bit more. Let's stay over his jab. Take a drink. Give him a drink. Let him drink it. Swallow it. Let's work out. Let's start picking it up this time.
Well, interesting words from Louis Berkel. Let's start picking it up this time as we get round 6 underway. And while they are two slick southpaws, two great technicians, at the end of the day, Amir, it is still entertainment. And despite what we have seen, I mean, you would like to see the pace pick up, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. You want to see the pace pick up, but you know, this is a great boxing fight. I mean, looking at it technically wise, you know, it is a great technical fight. And, you know, a lot of boxing fans would agree with me.
Right, and that's the conundrum, isn't it? There's the boxing purists and then the casual fans who want the blood and guts.
Definitely, but, you know, Trout is doing what he's doing best, and Lara is just beating him where, now you see Trout putting a little bit of pressure on him. I'm sure from his corner we heard his trainer saying, come on, let's go now. So
yeah, it was a nice counter clubbing right hand to the side of Lara's head. There's a shot to the body by Trout. 1 minute gone in the 6th round. Looking for the openings.
Trout has been short with his jab the whole night, and that's been a big issue, both to land it and even to use it as a rangefinder.
He does have a 2.5-inch reach advantage. Does Lara over Trout. Minute and a half now remaining in the 6th round. Counter left uppercut. Trout walked right into it.
You know, both men are counter punchers, but Lara has been able to be the counter puncher because Trout is the one that has been forced to or decided to push forward, and Trout has not been able to counter him.
So Amir, in terms of Trout looking to try to find a home and find the range for the jab, what would you suggest?
Well, you know, there always has to be one fighter who just put the pressure on, and I think it ended up being Trout. I mean, Trout is a very similar fighter to Lara. They are both counter fighters, but one has to move forward. Otherwise, if they can't both fight, you know, they both can't keep fighting as counter fighters. But Trout, you see him throwing a lot more punches now. His work rate's gone a little bit higher, and he's starting to get more success. He's catching Lara some shots now, and you know, I have him up this round.
He lands a couple of jabs, then goes downstairs to the body with the right hand.
There's always a saying, you know, a lot of people always say the Cuban fighters, you know, they always had soft bodies. So maybe that's why, you know, he's throwing them big body shots in and he's kind of throwing them now and then, kind of slow him down a little bit.
Yeah, they haven't been that effective, though. He hasn't thrown that. The problem is he can't come close enough to really throw them with conviction.
I mean, Lara has great footwork, and Lara's not letting him get close.
Yep, exactly.
Another left uppercut connects on the jaw of Trout by Lara. Final 10 seconds of the 6th round of this scheduled 12-rounder in the super welterweight division as Lara picks off Trout again. And anytime Austin No Doubt Trout is in the ring, it's a family affair. Ringside, you see his family, his mother, MJ Trout, wife Taylor, and daughters Kyra, who's 11, 3-year-old Charlotte, and his 6-year-old son, Elijah, who I had a chance to visit with at the weigh-ins. A cute kid and a great family.
Well, things didn't go perfectly for Austin, though, in the last round. There's the kind of counter uppercut by Lara, and then he moves away immediately. His idea is engage and move. That's the way that's been his credo as a boxer. Okay. It's mostly been Trout's credo, too. It's Ronnie Shields.
So Ronnie Shields speaking English in Lara's corner, translated by his manager, and we begin the 7th round, the second half of this 154-pound showdown between two of the most technically proficient fighters in the division. A pair of southpaws in Erislandy Lara in the black with red, and Austin Trout, who sports the white and silver trunks.
And you know, we're talking about what Lara's done in this fight, but they've both thrown almost exactly the same number of punches, and according to show stats, Lara's only landed 12 more. But in a fight like this, where the margin is so small, that can mean something. But, you know, clearly he's not running away with this fight, Lara, even though if it seems like he has controlled the tempo.
And here are the unofficial scores at the midway point of this scheduled 12-round affair.
So I have it the closest, and both Amir and Steve Farwood have it a wider.
No, you have it the same as Amir Khan.
Oh, I do. I'm sorry. No, that.
Sorry,
yeah.
Amir and Steve. I
Exactly.
apologize.
So we'll get this straight, folks. Let's bring Steve in.
Yeah, guys, I think the key here is commitment. Trout is coming forward but won't commit to throwing punches because he doesn't want to get countered. And Lara, he has an interesting habit. He lands a left hand and then walks away as if to show the judges, I landed a shot. But if styles don't make fights, I don't know what axiom is true, because think of how exciting Angulo Lara was and how uneventful Lara Trout has been.
Yeah, and also Austin Trout, even against Cotto, was exciting because Cotto came in, and against Canelo. So you're right. This is style-wise, just isn't getting it done.
You know, they're both boxers, and you know, trying to box each other, and they both normally fight as counter fighters. So maybe that's what it is. You know, they're both afraid to. One has to come forward to make it exciting.
And the problem is neither is especially effective at doing that. Austin Trout has taken that role. He decided he would take it before the fight, and it's not a role he's comfortable with. He's doing his best, and he's having some success, but not able to really do it as effectively as he'd like.
And again, coming off a firefight to open things up between Sakio Bika and Anthony Durrell. A definite contrast, but this is the sweet science. Two of the very best boxers in the game. But the crowd here came to see more action, although Lara continuing to maintain his game plan, sticking and then moving. Trout wanting to control the center of the ring and try to land the jab, but as you mentioned, Al, not really finding the range like he wants to.
Austin Trout sometimes has a habit of kind of slapping with the right hook, and he did that there a moment ago.
Coming up later tonight in the main event, the Battle of Brooklyn between Paulie Malignaggi and Zab Judah. And the First Lady of Boxing and Brooklyn's very own, the wonderful Rosie Perez, and she receives a nice round of applause, and why not? A terrific actress, choreographer, and huge boxing fan with encyclopedic knowledge. Always a pleasure to see Rosie Perez in attendance. And she came to see Super Zab Judah, two-division champion at 36, wanting to represent his borough of Brownsville. Yes, he now lives in Las Vegas, but he is Brownsville born and bred, and he will be getting it on with Bensonhurst, Paulie, the Magic Man Malignaggi in tonight's main event. The Battle of Brooklyn is coming up.
And Rosie said on Twitter, she said, look, just don't make me pick. I'm coming, but don't make me pick between Paulie and Zab.
She picked the Brooklyn fighter.
Exactly.
Round 8 begins here between Erislandy Lara and Austin No Doubt Trout. Lara pairing the Trout jab. Trout blocking the Lara jab.
You know, in his last 6 fights, Lara has been hit by only 20% of his opponent's punches. Shows you the defensive prowess he has. And of course, we mentioned that Trout himself is a terrific defender, and that's part of the equation here.
Right hand to the body by Trout before Lara escapes.
You know, every time Lara throws a combination, he just takes that little step back out again. Just makes, you know, makes Austin just miss by an inch.
And tying up Trout on the inside as well.
Yeah, and tying him up. Yeah, he's boxing a very smart fight.
next.
Now, the question some may have is he's been a little more economical with his punches.
Straight left hand connects by Erislandy Lara, stiff left. And there's a 1-2 combination. So the action picking up a bit here in round 8. Another left hand and a counter left from Trout. But Lara finding the range with that straight left. And Amir, in terms of the footwork thus far in this fight, who do you give the advantage to and why?
I think Lara, you know, with Lara, he's always one step away from hitting his opponent. Whereas Trout, you know, Trout's taking a bigger step back and staying there, with Lara's got that little bit of a bounce in his footwork, where when he wants to be in range, he shoots a shot, and when he wants to get out, he's out and doesn't get hit.
Sticks the jab.
Erislandy Lara is able to counterpunch because he has turned, Austin Trout has turned himself into something he's not. I've said it before in this fight, but it's just a fact. He's coming forward, it's not his game, and Lara is allowed to fight his game. And so because of that, he's been able to land these counterpunches. And only occasionally does Trout get in something like that right hook.
Yeah, the right hook there lands. Under 30 seconds left in the 8th round.
Lara's keeping it very basic, sticking to the 1-2 left hook. I mean, they're the main shots he's throwing. Keeping it very basic, but getting a lot of success by them.
There's a nice left hand by Lara. 10 seconds left as we go into the latter stages of this round. Round 9 just around the corner. Well, the Emmy winning Inside the NFL with J.B. James Brown, Chris Collinsworth, and Phil Simms has new episodes every Wednesday at 9 p.m. here on Showtime. And, of course, the Battle of Brooklyn as our own colleague, Paulie the Magic Man Malignaggi, takes off the headset, puts the gloves back on. His motto, BK Stand Up. Started boxing at 16 at Gleason's gym and is really looking forward to facing his friend, Zab Judah. Imagine that, two of the best trash talkers in the sport, and they have been getting along just swimmingly in the build-up to this fight.
A pensive Paulie Malignaggi as he gets ready to be in what will be a momentous fight for both men, really, because of the setting, because of where it is, and because of the stage of their careers that they're at. And I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup.
So the 9th round is underway here between Erislandy Lara and Austin Trout.
I mentioned at the beginning both men as a key had to establish their jabs. Erislandy Lara has landed 49 jabs according to show stats, and Austin Trout has landed 27 jabs according to show stats. So while that's not a monstrous difference, it's enough in this fight.
Amir, of course, Trout, despite what he felt after watching his last fight with Canelo, and a lot of people agreed that maybe he should have been given a draw. Some people thought he won the fight, and yet it goes down as his first loss. In coming back from your first loss, talk about the mindset and what happens.
I mean, you know, you normally want to pick someone that you want to look good against, especially after a fight that you've lost. Whereas Austin Trout just jumped into a very tough fight straight after, you know, having got beat by Canelo. But, you know, I mean, styles make fights, and I think this is the wrong style for Austin Trout. I mean, it might suit Lara more because he's used to fighting these guys, but for Trout, this is the wrong style.
Well, he set out and he told us at the fighter meetings the other day, I'm going to come forward. I train to come forward. And I love Austin Trout, and I love Louis Burke, and I think they're terrific. But why? Why would you decide to be the one to come forward when you're both counterpunchers? I just don't understand that. And listen, they're very good boxing men, and I respect them amazingly, but wrong move in this fight. You've ceded the high ground from the beginning.
Trout wanting to go to the body, but great defense again exhibited by Lara, just shelling up and absorbing the punch on his arms.
And believe me, if they decided to stay back, we'd be sitting here with crickets chirping because Austin Trout's at least trying to make the fight. I get that. Unfortunately for him, it hasn't been as effective as he would like.
Final minute of the 9th round. Just unable to really find his range, was able to stick the jab, but again, single shot, pot shots, and Lara just waits for him to come forward and then unleashes counter left.
And it just shows how good Angulo's game plan was against Lara. You know, he put him down twice, and it just shows, you know, styles make fights, and that was the right style.
Well, that's who he is. That's who Alfredo Angulo is. He's a big, powerful guy who takes punishment, comes in, and blasts away on you. That's not
it was a very close fight, definitely, and a lot of people had him winning that fight. But
yeah, it was very close.
Yeah.
Both these warriors tasted the canvas for the first time in their respective careers in their last outings. Of course, Lara going down twice and Trout going down in the 7th round, courtesy of a right hand from Canelo. As we head into the 10th round here in Brooklyn, it's Lara versus Trout.
Now's the time you got to put a little bit of pressure on him. You have to put the pressure on him.
He's not be on that rope, though. We can't be on that rope. We got to stay off them ropes. Okay? Stay off the rope. Just stay off the rope and everything else is good. Okay, baby? Everything else is good. Keep good. 1-2s all the time, okay?
So trainer Ronnie Shields wants Erislandy Lara to stay off the ropes, keep it simple with the 1-2, while in Austin Trout's corner, Amir, as we get set for round 10, Louis Burke wants him to put on the pressure. Easier said than done.
yeah, it's easier said than done because, you know, like I said, Styles, it's just an awkward style he's up against. But I think he has to stay busy in this round, especially this half of the fight now. He has to start putting the pressure on, start throwing a little bit more punches. Just like, like Angulo did in his last fight, he had a lot of success by throwing a lot of shots and putting pressure on. Maybe it's time now where Austin Trout does put pressure on and start pushing Lara back instead of giving him the distance and giving him enough room.
Trout has not double jabbed his way in either. And the reason for that is simple. When you're a fighter like Angulo, you're a Joe Frazier, I could name 50 fighters like that. You're taught double jab, take a step in, bang the body, bang the head. Austin Trout hasn't done that in his whole life. Well, his whole life he hasn't done it.
Considering the way this fight is unfolded, maybe you should list off 50 fighters. Might be a little more entertaining.
No, I mean, that's what they're taught to do. You can't change a guy like Austin Trout in one training camp into becoming that kind of fighter. It's not going to happen.
Through 9 rounds, here is the unofficial scoring, courtesy of our Showtime crew.
And we each have a pretty good margin for Erislandy Lara, and we'll see. It'd be interesting to see if the judges agree with us. There have been many rounds in which neither man has been super duper active. Have I ever said super duper before? I don't know. Well, I said it there.
A minute and a half remaining in the 10th round, and Austin Trout continues to be unable to find the range, throwing punches but catching nothing but air due to the defensive prowess of Erislandy Lara, who just continues to pick his spots and then land proficiently.
Yeah, good jabs thrown by Trout this round, but I think he has to, like we were just talking about before, maybe doubling that jab up, getting a little bit closer. It's giving him too much room, in my opinion. If he doubles it up and gets him inside and then starts throwing some, letting go of some combinations, I think he will cause him a lot more problems.
And the double jab traditionally is the way to close that distance and get on the inside.
Definitely, especially if you're fighting a good boxer.
Yep.
Final 45 seconds of the round, and just when Austin Trout is beginning to want to put on sustained pressure, that's when Erislandy Lara evacuates the premises.
Trout has actually had a little more success in some ways in this round on the inside with punches like that uppercut. I don't know if it's enough to win him the round, but he's done a little better.
There's a jab from Trout, but again does not follow up. Tries to land the left, bounces off Lara's arm. Lara coming forward. Final 10 seconds of the 10th. Big fights bring out the big names in the sporting world. Meta world peace of the New York Knicks, who, well, blasted the Brooklyn Nets a couple of nights ago here at Barclays Arena. Both the Nets and Knicks have struggled this season, but a big win for the Knicks. And Meta World Peace taking in the Sweet Science tonight.
Yeah, it's been a great arena for boxing. Not so good for the home basketball team in the NBA so far this year.
And Nets coach Jason Kidd must feel like he's been through 12 rounds. Yes.
Hey, tell him, start his depth right now. He know he's losing. He's way behind him. He need a knockout.
The bell and round 11.
Now, Lara has only been 12 rounds one time, and interestingly, of course, that was, he lost that fight.
Although it resulted in the judges getting suspended because of their
it did indeed. Yeah.
ineptitude.
Yeah, 3 judges suspended in New Jersey for that fight against Williams.
Well, sign of sportsmanship there as they touch gloves. Now, if they would only maybe touch each other up a little more. There's Austin Trout with a lead right hand. Jab connects by Lara, but then he just sticks and moves him here.
I think Lara's showing great footwork in this fight.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, hitting, moving, not staying on the ropes. I mean, just making Trout miss clean, really. And
there's some swelling around the right eye of Austin Trout, courtesy of that jab.
Parenthetically, what I mentioned before, Trout's 5-1 in 12-round fights, but you can throw that out the window because the way this 12-round fight has developed, Austin Trout has not been able to get much done. He certainly has not done enough to slow Lara. All those body punches he wanted to throw, he's never been close enough and has landed very few during this fight.
There's a counter right hand by Lara in the final minute and a half of the 11th.
Trout is occasionally able to get in the right hook, which I thought might be a punch Lara would land more in this fight, though he hasn't. He's relied on the straight left.
And the fancy footwork. And the jab when necessary.
And now we see the right hook emerging a little bit by Lara. It's a powerful punch for him.
Final minute of the 11th round. Erislandy Lara, the 30-year-old from Cuba. Now living in the United States, training at the Plex in Houston, Texas at Ronnie Shields Gym. And in fact, they crossed paths at the Plex. Trout spent a couple of weeks there doing some strength and conditioning before moving the camp back to the high altitude of Mexico. And Trout is staggered and dropped for the second time in his career. And that may have just been the exclamation point there as Trout goes down in the 11th round. Lara now on the attack.
it was a beautiful clean right hand. Left hand by Lara. And then again,
and
getting lots of success with that backhand.
Yet to regain his legs. Now trying to use his body to avoid the attack, but a big round for Erislandy Lara. And a frustrated Trout goes back to his corner.
Lara told us if he could hit Trout right, he could knock him out. Well, he knocked him down. Again, it was the straight left hand. Set up, I believe, by a pawing jab by Lara, a rangefinder, and then was able to land the straight left. And again, because Austin Trout has come in so low, he has made himself a more available target for Lara. And there was the left hand, which was on the temple area, so there could have been some equilibrium issues as well for Austin Trout.
So Trout went down in the Canelo fight for the first time in his career in the 7th round, courtesy of a right hand, goes down in the 11th, courtesy of a Lara left.
You know what? Brilliant work by Louis Burke and the boys in the corner. They took a long time to get out of that corner, trying to give Austin Trout a little extra time to clear the cobwebs. That was by design, I'm sure.
You know, you always have that one style you always have problems with in boxing, and it's just a shame, you know, Lara has that one style that gives Trout problems, because I believe Trout's a great fighter, but he just can't get going in this fight. Lara's not giving him that opportunity, you know, or anything.
Yeah, all that was missing was spilling a drink a la Jason Kidd, who we mentioned earlier. 30 seconds gone in the 12th and final round here as we take a look at the unofficial scoring through 11 rounds.
And we all have Lara by a fairly big margin, the biggest margin by Amir, and so clearly with the 2-point round as well in the last one, we anticipate the judges are probably in agreement, but you never know. That's completely unofficial what you just saw, and just a guideline of what we think in terms of scoring.
1 minute gone in the 12th round, and Lara continues to stick to the game plan, sticking the jab, utilizing the footwork, and not allowing Austin Trout any opportunities to close the gap and pull out what has to be a miracle shot here, because truly after 11 rounds he has to be behind on all scorecards.
You would think so, and you know, we just saw the toughness of Austin Trout. We saw when Canelo, who hit him with a monstrous punch, put him down. Trout got up and was effective in that fight, very effective after that. So clearly he's a very tough man. Now when you look ahead and spin ahead for these two fighters, you look at Erislandy Lara and you say to yourself, so okay, he's a really good boxer and a really good counterpuncher, and a person who is more of a pressure fighter, oh, I don't know, Canelo Alvarez, let's say, how would they look?
Final 60 seconds, and for Austin Trout, how important is it, Amir, for him to just survive this fight?
Yeah, I think it's very important. You know, he wants to go the distance. I think on points he's lost the fight, but, you know, showed a lot of heart. I mean, coming off that knockdown that he had in the last round, which I think was a devastating backhand by Lara, and since then he's been caught with many big shots, showing a lot of heart in this fight, and you know, but Lara's just boxing, being smart, not giving him a chance, and just moving and just wants to win this round, you know, wants to just win and nice and easy.
The footwork, impenetrable defense, the slick southpaw, the crafty Cuban, Erislandy Lara putting the finishing touches here with 15 seconds left in the 12th round, dropping Austin Trout in the 11th. If you like the sweet science, you've got to love Erislandy Lara, who put on a clinic here tonight against Austin Trout. And while the fans may be booing, Erislandy Lara has to be happy with the way things turned out here. And an emotional Trout family, and you have to feel, especially for his son, shedding tears as this is the other side. The families, of course, supporting their fighters, but there has to be a winner, there has to be a loser, and of course we have to wait and see how the judges scored the fight, but it does not appear from our vantage point to be a great night for Austin No Doubt Trout.
It was a very difficult strategic fight for him. He had to come forward in the whole fight, or decided to come forward, and Erislandy Lara was able to pot shot him. A nice scene there, because there was rancor leading up to this fight. This was the knockdown in the 11th round that sealed the fate of Austin Trout. He fought low, he fought in a crouch, and Erislandy Lara was able to get him with these straight left hands, and that one in the 11th round was a huge punch that put Austin Trout down and punctuated what this fight was all about. And as we look at the numbers, Trout was a little busier, but clearly the accuracy rate, and that 20%, by the way, is exactly what the last 6 men have landed against Lara. So he's a superb defender.
So Austin Trout going down for the second time in his career. A frustrating night for the former 154-pound champion. Well, for Erislandy Lara, bigger fights ahead.
You know, Lara boxed a very smart fight. You know, just didn't give Trout a chance, or just didn't let him settle down. Just kept moving, had great footwork, and just did what he had to do. He had a great game plan for the fight.
So you mentioned Canelo and the pressure style. Amir, what kind of style is going to be able to solve a guy like Erislandy Lara? Paul Williams, of course, gave him a tough fight.
Definitely, you need someone who's gonna. You need someone just like Angulo, you know, to push him back, throw him a lot of shots, throw them big shots, work the body a little bit, slow them feet down.
And the danger of that is the fact that when you do that, you're going to get counter punches from Lara. That's why, as I suggested, Canelo Alvarez is a man to do it, but he didn't do it against Trout because he didn't want to. He wanted to box more.
All right, let's get the official decision now from Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Our judge at ringside, John McKay, scores the bout 118 to 109. John Potere and Tom Schreck both scored the bout 117 to 110. All three in favor of the winner, the interim WBA Super Welterweight World Champion, Erislandy